meeting of this academic year, and like to welcome everyone here. And I would like to start by welcoming Christine Hutchins, our new Vice President of Marketing and Strategic Communication. Christine holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Public Policy from the University of Chicago and a Master's in Business Administration from MIT Sloan School of Management. So we are delighted to have you with us, and we look forward to having your expertise help us communicate well within the world. Next, I would like to ask Sydney to come to me, because I'm not coming to you. Sydney Stafford, I'd like to recognize Sydney as our student representative to the board. She's been with us for 2 years, has done so very much for us. And I'd like to present the certificate. We're delighted to have her mother, Lisa, with us. Sydney will be graduating with a political science and Spanish degree. We look forward to watching you walk in front of us in just a few weeks. And we also wish her very well on her next endeavor, which is she's attending law school at University of Massachusetts, and has a full ride there. So we're very proud. Next, while I'm still standing, I stepped in a hole and twisted my ankle, so I'm not walking well today. I would like to call up Kathy Walter. Kathy has been on the board for the entire 4 years that I have served. Wrong one. Did I? Wrong one. I think I went out of order. Oh, well, we'll do Kathy next. Kathy, thank you so much for all you've done. It's been a pleasure serving with you as the faculty rep to the board. You've served the faculty well. You've served on the presidential search committee, which was a huge, we absolutely loved your voice being there and giving us great guidance so that we could find President Jim. So thank you very much. And Charlotte, would you come up, please? Charlotte is the outgoing student body president, and we are delighted to have you here. We enjoyed having you serve with us and report to us. We worked with Sydney as you all did what you needed to do to bring the voice of the students to the board, and we greatly appreciate it. And I'd like to present you with the certificate. Okay, next we have a welcome. We have Graham Scheer. Graham, please stand up. Graham is the new student rep to the Board of Visitors. He was elected a couple of weeks ago, and we can't wait to have you serve. And you have big shoes to fill because Sydney has done a fabulous job, but we know you will as well. And we look forward to getting to know you and working with you in the coming year. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, we have the new student board representative here. And I'd like to welcome Jessica Abaji. Did I do that well? Abaji. Okay, I'm so sorry. We are so delighted to have you here, and we look forward to hearing your voice through the students, and we work well. We serve you, the students. So we want to hear from you and work with you to make things better for our campus. So thank you very much. So there are all the introductions that we have this morning. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. And I would like to ask if anyone would like anything removed from the consent agenda. If there is nothing to be removed, I would like to have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much. Next, we have President Jim.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I'd like to add my thanks to the student and faculty representatives who've served so well this university and have been an important part of my first year at the university, for introducing me and coordinating activities to get to know the students and the faculty better. So I want to add my thanks to both of you. This has really been a remarkable stretch of time over the last year across philanthropy, partnerships, enrollment, and strategic planning. We're not just making progress, we're building momentum, real momentum, that kind that when you look back and you can see a turning point. Let me walk you through what I'm seeing and why I believe we are exactly where we need to be. The energy I'm feeling from our donor community is really unlike anything I've experienced during my first year here. The presidential tour is taking me across the country into living rooms, boardrooms, alumni gatherings, and I keep hearing over and over is that they have confidence in us. Confidence in JMU's direction, confidence in our team, and a genuine hunger to be a part of what we're building. Our stewardship events, the stewardship luncheon, the alumni awards banquet are doing exactly what we thought that they should do. They remind our supporters that their investment produces real results. They close the loop between generosity and impact. The Madison Trust presentations were a perfect example when a faculty member stands up and shows donors exactly how their gift has changed the trajectory of their research project or a student's life. That's both a gratitude and a case for continued investment. We've also launched a donor advisory task force to begin shaping the next comprehensive campaign. We're doing this thoughtfully, making sure the campaign reflects our strategic priorities and speaks directly to the people who believe most in JMU. That confidence in JMU has showed up in a big way on Giving Day. To say it plainly, Giving Day was exciting. I kept refreshing my browser to see how we kept making progress. This year, we had 3,455 unduplicated donors who came together to contribute more than $1.24 million, a new record in total dollars raised. But the number I keep coming back to is the donor count. That level of participation of alumni, families, faculty, staff, students tells a story about community, about belonging, about people choosing to invest in this place because they believe in what it stands for. Every dollar raised through Giving Day flows directly into scholarships, academic programs, and the student experience. It is the Madison promise made real, one gift at a time. That same spirit of community was felt across the entire week of inauguration. Being installed as JMU's 7th president was clearly the greatest honor of my life. But more than a ceremony, inauguration week was a showcase for everything we stand for. Student performers, faculty engagement, community members filling the hall. It was a living demonstration of the Madison Promise, which of course was our theme. It also gave us something invaluable: time with donors, state leaders, and partners who came to Harrisonburg because they wanted to be a part of this moment. Think about it, this has only happened 7 times in almost 120 years. These conversations matter. They plant seeds that we will be harvesting for years to come. And I'm grateful to this board, our faculty and staff, and the entire JMU community for making that week what it was. That external momentum continues as we deepen our partnerships across the region. Our great university doesn't just sit on top of a hill. It reaches out, it digs in, and makes the community around it stronger. Our BR to JMU co-admission partnership is a clear example of that principle in action. It creates affordable, structured pathways for students right here in the Shenandoah Valley to earn a 4-year JMU degree. That's not just good for students, it's good for this region. These students tend to stay and work and be leaders in the very region that surrounds Harrisonburg. Our participation in the VA 250 initiative reinforces something I believe deeply. JMU has a unique role to play in the civic life of this Commonwealth. We continue to set that tone by making it a priority, and it's at the heart of our mission and the Madison Promise I'll talk a little bit more about later. Our reach is also growing across the Commonwealth through visibility that comes from athletic success. Our Dukes are competing and winning at a remarkable level. Our women's basketball team captured the Sun Belt Championship and advanced to the first round of the NCAA March Madness tournament. That kind of performance doesn't just fill a trophy case. It puts JMU on television screens and in conversations across the country. Across all programs, JMU ranks second in the Sun Belt and 16th nationally among the group of 6 institutions. That is a reflection of coaching excellence, student-athlete commitment, institutional investment, and our Duke dogs and alumni coming together to make those investments pay off. And we're growing with athletics means is that we have a broader JMU experience to offer our students. We hope to also host we're hosting our first concert in the Atlantic Union Bank Center on, is it May 1st, Matt?
Friday.
Next Friday night. I hope you'll give us a chance to join that. And I think it will be an important statement that this campus is capable of hosting these first-rate, high-class performances. These early stages are really important to demonstrate to tour operators and the people that book the artists that JMU knows what it's doing, puts on a class act, and can fill a stadium. The national profile has developed beautifully, and it also shapes how the next generation of Dukes will find us. I'm pleased to report we had more than 43,000 applications. Let that sink in, 43,000 applications. And look, Princeton gets 47,000 applications. You start looking, they publish the top 10 and 20 in the country. We're not on that list, but the numbers are just barely above this 43,000 list. So Melinda and her team and the efforts of everyone to create high visibility has made an impact. Students from across all 50 states and more than 100 countries applied to join the JMU class of 2030. This is not just a number that we take for granted. It is a mandate and a signal that what we're building here is resonating far beyond the Shenandoah Valley. We're approaching 4,000 deposits towards a goal of 5,000 with a May 1 deadline just still ahead. Our team is working hard to convert that investment and interest into commitment. Deposits are just the beginning. What matters is helping students fall in love with JMU before they even move in. How we treat prospective students before they arrive tells them everything they need to know about how they'll be treated once they arrive on campus. Through open houses, Duke for a day, and virtual engagement, we're giving students a chance to experience JMU, not just read about it. Participation has been strong, and I'm hearing directly from families how meaningful these touch points are in their final decision. I make it a point to be out and about on campus, and I relish the opportunity to address the students in AAUBC. And unbeknownst to me, I start walking back to Alumna Hall, and there's the First Lady out working with some of her friends, greeting families and students to campus. And she absolutely loves it and has now started putting them on her calendar. We want to make sure every future Duke arrive on campus on move-in day, already knowing that they belong here. And that experience, as they arrive, is only one of the deliberate things that we're designing together across the university. The strategic plan journey that we have ahead of us. So we've spent this entire year working on the strategic plan, and we've been through several stages. The first stage was the listening stage, August and November. And as the slide indicates, we had 1,400 plus in the listening tour events that we held across the Commonwealth. 270 people showed up for one of the idea forums. We had 600 plus divisional college meeting attendees and over 220 pages of feedback through the QR codes we pumped out and placed on our website. We then brought to the board some of those key pillars that we saw emerging in November, and then moved on to the envisioning stage. We had 7 vision teams, 85 faculty, staff, and students served on those teams, and I think we had more than 200 people volunteer to serve on those. They worked through the holiday break period into the end of March, and finally we got to the create stage, the crafting, and multiple drafts of what became the Madison Promise. And that brings us to today's work. And the next stage will be to move on to, we'll be then moving on to actually the implementation stage. Go on to the next slide. So within what you're seeing today, you're going to be seeing guidepost goals and what can be expected for the metrics of those. We have outcomes lined up for both 2032 and 2040 targets. So while the key part of the plan is to take us through 2032 with a great deal of certainty of what we want to accomplish, we've also gone out further and set goals that we hope to hit by 2040 and will really be the basis for the next strategic plan. And again, our next stage is to develop those implementation plans and allocate the resources necessary and provide the focus and accountability to make sure that we're completing that. Next slide. All right, so let me talk a little bit about the Madison Promise. We've got, let me move on to that. Pillar 1 is to enhance the value, purpose, and impact of the JMU education. When we met as in a retreat last year at Williamsburg, the board laid out very specific goals they wanted to see incorporated in the strategic plan. This was your first goal and is the first goal of this plan. This is about making the value of a JMU degree undeniable. We're introducing guarantees, and I want to make it clear that these commitments are those that we stand behind. An employment guarantee, JMU will ensure that every graduating student, beginning with the class of 2030, will achieve a positive career outcome. Employment, graduate education, volunteer experience, or military experience within 1 year of graduation. Graduates who have not yet reached that milestone within the first year will receive personalized support through career counseling, alumni and employer networking, and access to additional education or internship opportunities at no additional cost to the graduate. The employer guarantee, JMU will stand behind the career readiness of every graduate, beginning with the class of 2030. If an employer identifies a gap in the graduate's power skills, including critical thinking, communication, problem solving, or the ability to work in teams, within 2 years of graduation, the university will provide access to coaching services and additional personalized coursework at no cost to the graduate or the employer. To deliver on this, we are aligning curriculum more directly with workforce needs and dramatically expanding career-connected learning and deepening our employer partnerships. The question I keep asking, will this prepare a student for the world that we can't fully predict? If the answer is yes, we're going to see if we can do it. Pillar 2 is to invest in our people. Everything we do must be accomplished, every single thing, through the hard work and commitment of our faculty and staff. This pillar is about creating the conditions for our people to do their best work. And that means aligning workload with strategic priorities so people are spending time on what matters most, enhancing employee well-being in real and meaningful ways, improving compensation competitiveness. We want to attract and retain the best and brightest, continuing to streamline how we operate through re-engineering Madison and other initiatives. I want JMU to be the place where talented people choose to build their careers because that is our competitive advantage. Pillar 3, charting a new path as a research university. Here's what we refuse to do. Copy what everyone else calls a research university. We are defining what a research excellence looks like for JMU, and its model that focuses on undergraduate students at its center. I've been a passionate advocate for undergraduate research my entire career. Why? It's simple, because it transforms students. It transforms faculty and produces discoveries that benefit our communities. And that's not a trade-off between teaching and research. It's a new breakthrough model. We're investing in infrastructure, growing doctoral programs in targeted areas, and developing centers of excellence that reflect unique strengths. This is a space for you to be watching as we move forward. Pillar 4, becoming the preferred partner of the Commonwealth and beyond. When Virginia has a problem to solve, I want them to call JMU first. That is the goal, and we will build towards that by coordinating partnerships across the university so we speak with one voice. We need to create a one front door so they know the right place to access the institution. Be aligning academic programs with the Commonwealth's most pressing workforce needs and expanding the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences where the community need is greatest. JMU is not just a place to earn a degree. We are an economic and civic engine for the region and the state, and the Madison Promise makes that role more explicit. Pillar 5, creating an innovative campus community. Strategy lives on paper, but community is where it comes to life. This pillar is about making sure that when a student walks across our campus day or night, that they feel that they have that sense of feeling of belonging and connect. They are a part of something bigger than themselves. We're designing spaces that connect academic, residential, and community life in ways that foster community, collaboration, and the kind of belonging that makes students want to stay and come back. Delivering on these pillars means that we have to take a hard look at the physical environment that supports them. Our campus must be a living expression of the Madison Promise. Right now, we have real opportunities to close the gap between what we aspire to and what a student experiences every single day. We're approaching this comprehensively, not facility by facility, but as an integrated vision that connects academic buildings, student housing, research space, student life, and community partnerships. The question guiding every decision is simple. Does this serve our students and our mission? So if you take a look at some of the slides, if you back up one, David, we have a lot of spaces on the campus. And when you say, is this the campus of the 21st century? Is this what you think of when you think of a modern, robust learning environment? Are these the facilities and environments that create what we've just described? And these are just a few selections. It's probably at its worst for on-campus housing and many of our off-campus housing and how students access key activities and services and retail outlets. Now you can move on, David. So as we went through the work of starting the campus master plan, which takes a very broad look at inventory of the condition of our buildings, the location where things are at, much the key infrastructure needs. We have that as a leg that will be in front of you for approval today. We bring in the strategic plan, and then we have a campus development plan, which says, how might we bring together the broad facility needs of the campus, tie it to the strategic plan, and develop a pathway where we can achieve so much more at a better price in a way that serves our students better. So there's 4 top priorities within this plan. Let me just do a quick, let's go back to that next slide, David, thank you. So this is the broad basis of the plan. Many of you have seen this in committee already. We take a look at various districts of the university. We take a look at where those opportunities are. Much of what will be the first part of the work will really be in that mid-campus area. I was remarking that many universities start in the middle of a downtown, and as they grow, they cannibalize more of the downtown, older housing and other things. Certainly some of that happened early on in our life, but then we started to move towards what became the freeway. And of course, President Ron Carrier purchased what I'm told was a cow pasture on the East Campus. But just because of dumb luck, the mid-campus area was all acquired at the same time. And all the buildings were pretty much built in the 50s and 60s with a few exceptions. And they weren't known for great architecture and building quality of that time. And guess what? They're all tired out like some of us who were built in the 50s and 60s. not mentioning any names. And so there's an opportunity to really have a comprehensive view of it. And as you look at this campus, You understand that what used to be an area that students had to just get through, something to endure to get from the Bluestone campus to the East Campus, now will be something that will actually bring the campuses together, will be the center, the hub of the university from a student life perspective, from a recreation perspective, from an activity, from a retail perspective, with actually, I think, doing a better job of pulling together this into a holistic campus. Let's see, is that my last slide on that, David? Yeah, so you'll see some slides that coming up as I go through each of these areas. I've got 4 areas that I'd like to highlight briefly. The images you will see are examples of other universities, and some in the Commonwealth, some in our competitive marketplace, that'll show what they are doing, some of the newest projects that they're doing to help us to realize what we're thinking about doing is cool and forward thinking, but the fact is our competitors are already working on these things as well. So first, housing. The research is clear. Students who live on campus are more engaged, more successful, and are more likely to graduate. We're looking at significantly expanding housing capacity on campus, and not just beds. We want it to become a richer, more connected residential experience. This is both a student success strategy and a long-term investment. The second area is academic and research spaces. Our labs, classrooms, and learning environments must support how we are teaching and researching today and be adaptable through what comes next. We're evaluating our existing spaces and making sure strategic investments are there to modernize them. And when possible, I would like to bring the private and nonprofit sector to our campus. I want to give these students as many real-life experiences while they're here as possible. That'll be yet one more difference that we can make for graduating Dukes. In student life and engagement spaces, our student union, recreation facilities, and gathering spaces must do more than just exist. They must invite connection, foster belonging, and reflect the vibrancy of JMU life. Walking through the current student union is none of those experiences, except when something might be occasionally going on that's really cool. But it does not invoke that idea of this is the place that I want to be. We are reimagining all these spaces from a student perspective. Fourth area is mixed use and real estate development. We're exploring opportunities for retail, dining, entertainment, potentially hotel or conference facilities to both enhance the student experience and create new revenue streams that we can reinvest directly into our mission. If we have the right partners, the right spaces, we can make JMU campus a destination. The bottom line is the campus we build must reflect the university we are becoming, not where we were, but where we're going. Looking ahead, I want to leave you with this. We are not managing a university in maintenance mode. We are building something that 10 years from now, people will look back and say, that was when JMU became what it was and was always meant to be. We have a strategic plan with clarity and conviction. We have a campus vision that matches our ambitions. We have a community, donors, alumni, faculty, staff, students, and partners who believe in what we're doing. And we have this board whose counsel and commitment I'm deeply grateful for. Madison Promise is not a tagline. It is a contract with every student who walks through our doors, and I'm fully committed to honoring it. JMU's future will be limited only by how big we can dream, how wide we open our doors, and how united we are in our resolve. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for President Jim? Thank you, Jim. Okay, we'll next start the committee reports part of our board meeting. And I would like to call on Nicole to do academic excellence, please.
Thank you, Madam Rector. We began the meeting of the Academic Excellence Committee on April 23rd with a welcome, followed by the approval of our minutes from our February meeting. Then we had our divisional update from our acting provost, Bob Colbert. He also welcomed the committee. In the update, he restated the division's goals for the academic year, summarized the division's work this year, which included completion or significant advancement in each area. Dr. Colvard then continued a discussion on AI, begun at the last meeting. He emphasized that academic affairs priorities to integrate AI throughout the curriculum. Colleges and academic units continue to refine their AI policies and approaches, and the provost's new special advisor for AI is collaborating with CFI to launch JMU's first AI Institute for faculty. Then we had the general education renewal. Co-chairs of the ad hoc committee on the core curriculum, Dr. Bethany Blackstone, Dean of the Honors College, and Dr. Shane McGarry, Associate Professor of Geophysics, reviewed the new curriculum framework. The framework was approved by instructional faculty, academic administrators, the provost, the president, and was also endorsed by the SGA. They reviewed the next steps in the implementation process leading to a fall 2028 program launch. The general education renewal had not been done in almost 30 years. So great improvement. Then we had the faculty handbook update, 2026-27 updates. Co-chairs of the faculty handbook committee, Dr. Sam Prenz, Dean of the College of Science and Mathematics, and Dr. Sarah Brooks, Professor of Art History, summarized the handbook revision process. They noted the multiple opportunities for faculty from every college to provide feedback. The committee received and thoughtfully considered hundreds of suggestions. The new handbook was approved by the provost, faculty senate speaker, and president. With the board's approval, it will go into effect on July 1. This is very, very good news. I know that when I first rolled onto the board, the appeal and promotion process was one of consternation for a lot of faculty. We will need a motion here. Madam Rector, on motion from committee, I move the full board approve the proposed changes to the faculty handbook.
No second is needed. So is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the faculty senate handbook revisions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, you have your approval.
Thank you, Madam Rector. We also have some curriculum updates. Dr. Paula Maxwell, Associate Vice Provost for Curriculum, presented 2 curriculum proposals for the board approval. The first was a request to establish a new graduate certificate program in sport coaching. The program meets the growing need for more qualified coaches and provides desired upskilling for current coaches. Each cohort of 12 to 15 will complete the 12-credit program virtually over 2 summers. This was intentional due to the fact that most coaches aren't coaching during the summer and their heavy seasons are fall and spring. The School of Professional and Continuing Education will administer the self-sustaining program pending SHEP approval. The certificate will be effective in the summer of 2027. Madam Rector, on motion from committee, I move the full board approve the new graduate certificate in sport coaching.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those signify by saying aye, the approval of the new graduate certificate.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nicole?
Thank you, Madam Rector. The second proposal is to discontinue the Higher Education Assessment Specialist Graduate Certificate Program. Program's enrollment has dropped steadily over the past few years. The 5 enrolled students will have the opportunity to complete the program, and no new students will be enrolled beginning in the fall of 2026. Madam Rector, on motion from committee, I move the full board approve discontinuance of the Graduate Certificate in Higher Education Assessment Specialist.
Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of discontinuing this graduate certificate signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There we go. Nicole?
Thank you, Madam Rector. And then we finished our meeting with a conversation with Academic Affairs and Ready about research and scholarship. Dr. Colvard and Dr. Anthony Tongan discussed research, scholarship, and creative activity, which was moderated by Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs and Curriculum, Dr. Elizabeth Oxmixon. The vice presidents described how research efforts are reflected in their divisions, highlighting their collaboration. Topics included what research supports works well, where there are areas for improvement, and what they anticipated as the next stage of research at JMU. They also touched on how research connects to the strategic plan. The conversation concluded with questions from the committee. Meeting adjourned at 2:32 p.m. Madam Rector, I move the report of the Academic Excellence Committee be accepted.
Thank you. I'm looking for a second for this one.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting Nicole's report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much. Next up, we have athletics and Dave Rexford.
Thank you, Madam Director. The Athletics Committee met yesterday and heard the following reports. First, Dr. Martin was recognized for his 20 years of service as JMU's athletics faculty representative. He's going to be retiring later this year. The JMU teams have compiled a 174, 131, 11 cumulative record for a winning percentage of 568. Being highlighted by sweeping all three of the spring sports, baseball, softball, and lacrosse against UVA, not that we care that much, all of which were ranked at the time. Alyssa Parker was named JMU's new head field hockey coach on April 15th, replacing Christy Morgan, who announced her retirement earlier this year. Lacrosse is ranked number 25 in the latest Division I coaches poll announced earlier this week and has earned the number 2 seed in the American Athletic Conference's Women's Lacrosse Championship. The entire JMU football team was named the Sports Person of the Year by the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame and will be honored this weekend. Normally it's an individual, but this year it's the entire football team.
Pretty cool.
The spring sports championship season is underway, and then we received updates at the conference and national level relating to eligibility, transfers, prize money, and compensation for student athletes. We then went to a section on the student athlete and student athlete voice. An overview was provided on the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, which was recently reorganized as an official student organization by JMU. JMU SAAC serves as a subset to the conference and national organization, which is an advisory body providing all student athletes a voice on rules and policies set forth by the NCAA. JMU's SAAC initiatives include community service in the areas of hunger and food insecurity, in addition to mentorship opportunities and supplemental programming aimed towards education, advocacy, and financial literacy. We then heard a report on JMU's Sports Science Research Center. Due to rising costs of medical insurance for student athletes, it was $3.44 million from 2024 to 2026. In high sports medicine operating costs, JMU Athletics and various campus partners have collaborated to develop a sports science research center with a 3-phase approach aimed to reduce premium costs and help student athletes return to play following an injury. The creation of the research center through financial support of the Madison Trust and funds donated from JMU Ready will help increase collaboration amongst campus departments, increase student engagement internships and work-based learning opportunities, increase the standard of care for student athletes, decrease medical costs for the university, and help promote national exposure for JMU through athletics. The development of the Sports Science Research Center can help JMU achieve its goals of advancing research and being a destination site for individuals looking to conduct research. Finally, we heard a fundraising update. It was provided and will be shared in the Philanthropy and Engagement Committee's reports. We also discussed future agenda items for future meetings. Madam Director, I move the acceptance of the report of the Athletics Committee.
Second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting Dave's report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much, Dave. Next up, we have audit and risk and compliance, and I call on Tom Galati, who subbed in for Jeff, who was not able to be here yesterday.
Thank you, Madam Rector. I think I provided a little bit of comic relief in the committee, if nothing else. That's all I can do. The Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee met at 4:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2026. The minutes from February 12th and March 6th were approved. Megan Richard and Sydney Rampy of the Auditor of Public Accounts presented the results of the JMU financial audit for the year ended June 30th, 2025. Ms. Richards reported that the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. There are no internal control findings requiring management's attention. There were no instances of non-compliance or other matters required to be reported under government auditing standards, and there was adequate corrective action with respect to the prior audit finding and recommendation. Dr. Nicole Wright, Associate Professor of Accounting and graduate students from ACTG 677, which is the Advanced Assurance and Analysis, reported on their latest collaboration with audit and compliance. The focus of the project was on small purchase charge card expenditure testing. The students assessed and defined risks, identified controls, selected a sample, developed and executed a testing plan, and documented findings and recommendations. A student panel described how this project impacted their learning experience. Becky Holmes presented a draft fiscal year 27 audit plan for discussion, and she noted that Elena Otterkirk will be serving as an interim internal controls advisor during implementation of the new human resources and financial systems as part of the Reengineering Madison project. Ms. Holmes also reviewed mandatory disclosures required annually by the Institute of Internal Auditors. And those disclosures include organizational independence, impairment to independence or objectivity, quality assurance and improvement program, disclosure of any non-conformance with standards, communication of management's acceptance of risks. And the committee went into closed session to review and discuss internal audit reports issued since the last meeting. The meeting adjourned at about 5:10 p.m. So Madam Rector, I move the report of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee be accepted.
May I have a second?
Seconds.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting the audit report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Terry Edwards, who will tell us about Strategic Planning Committee meeting.
Thank you, Madam Rector. The Strategic Planning Committee discussed the following items at the meeting yesterday. We began by approving the minutes of February 12th, March 9th, and March 19th. Then we followed by reviewing and discussing and adopting the strategic plan resolution. On motion from the Strategic Planning Committee, I move the full boards approve the following resolution. And because it's a resolution, I'll read it.
Buckle up.
Okay. This is shorter than Dave's resolution. Resolution regarding the new strategic plan. Whereas the university is developing the new 2032 strategic plan, which is necessarily bold in its approach and timing due to the rapidly changing environments of higher education and collegiate athletics. And whereas the plan outlines a longer-term vision for 2040 and immediate implementation towards the benchmarks for 2032, setting forth 11 important guidepost goals that the university will use to hold ourselves accountable and help measure the university's success in implementing the plan. And whereas the plan is based on the Madison Promise, an inspiring vision that imagines a university that delivers on what it promises, produces graduates who are prepared, experiences that are meaningful, and a community that holds itself to account. And whereas the plan has been developed, modified, and shaped by the feedback of hundreds of members of the university community, including with shared governance, leadership, and through 10 listening sessions, 5 idea forums, 3 town halls, and over 500 survey responses, and external listening sessions with over 1,600 alumni, business leaders, parents, and alongside the leadership of 7 vision teams consisting of 85 faculty, staff, and students, and deep engagement of this board, which included 2 on-site meetings and 7 meetings of the Strategic Planning Committee, 2 off-site committees, and 7 meetings of the Strategic Planning Committee. And whereas the new strategic plan will be comprised of 5 pillars, which are the essence of the Madison Promise. 1, enhance the value, purpose, and impact of a JMU education. 2, invest in our people. 3, chart a path as a national research university. 4, become the preferred partner to meet the needs of the Commonwealth and beyond. And 5, create an innovative campus community. And whereas the board wishes to express its support of the plan and acknowledges that now is the time for action. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the James Madison University Board of Visitors hereby formally endorses the aspirational goals for 2040 as the guidelines for this plan are detailed in the metrics, which a copy is attached. Be it further resolved that the board directs the administration to move forward with an implementation of the Madison Promise strategic plan and to take necessary and appropriate actions to support that implementation. Be it further resolved that the board hereby expresses its enthusiasm and looking forward to supporting additional steps necessary to implement the new strategic plan, and that the pillars and outcome measures will be refined and supported through thoughtful and coordinated financial, enrollment, philanthropy, and master development plans, as well as the 2032 metrics, which are being developed and expected to be finalized by the Board of Visitors meeting in September of 2026.
Are you gonna read the metrics?
No. Did ask that clarifying question beforehand.
Thank you.
That's
Okay, I
very
won't
great.
ask you to then. I don't need a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the strategic plan as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Thank you, Madam Rector.
Thank you.
The committee then took the opportunity to review the strategic plan metrics and affirm their contents. President Jim Schmidt provided the committee with an update on the timeline and next steps with pre-implementation teams. President Schmidt thanked the campus for their diligent work and extensive feedback that went into shaping the plan. The committee closed the meeting by reviewing the master plan resolution for information only. And before I finish the report, I do want to thank all the leaders within JMU's leadership group, David for keeping us organized, and Jim's guidance along the way, and each one of the committee members. And I especially thank Steve Smith for being a great assistant chair of this committee and providing guidance. Madam Rector, I now move the report of the Strategic Planning Committee be accepted.
Looking for a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much, Terry.
Madam Rector, point of personal privilege.
Yes.
I'd just like, on behalf of the board, to say thank you to Terry and to Steve. This was an incredible endeavor, done at a very quick but measured pace. And I'm very proud of the work that the committee did, but Terry's organization skills are next level.
Yep.
And I will never look at a chart the same or a table.
Neither will David.
But no, thank you very, very much for all your work, Terry.
Thank you. It's been an honor and it's a group effort.
Nicole, very, very appropriate comments. Thank you. Next, we have the Campus Development Working Group report from Dave.
All right, Madam Rector, the Campus Development Working Group discussed the following items at its meeting yesterday. The committee began by approving minutes from the previous meetings. Craig Short then led a discussion of the master plan, sharing an update on how the strategic plan, the master plan, and the campus development vision mutually inform one another. Lastly, alongside the Finance and Physical Development Committee, the working group passed the resolution approving the 2027 campus master plan and advancing the campus development plan. Before I make that motion, just want to point out too, particularly on the campus development side, there was a lot of work that we did very, very diligently with our committee members. There were a lot of meetings online over the past couple of months as we kind of worked through this new concept that JMU has never endeavored before. There were a lot of questions that board members raised that asked us to dive into. So I just want to thank the committee members. I want to thank Tawana and her team as well for all the financial due diligence and list of questions that we put before her before we could even get to this point. Because our top priority was, is this financially responsible for students and parents and the university? And we asked her a lot of tough questions, and her team has done a great job on that. And obviously just want to thank the overall staff and community that put in a lot of work. I mean, this was a very in-depth process to look at how we're going to potentially do this. So before we approved it, I just want to thank all those committee members, because this was, for endeavoring this for the first time for JMU, it was a lot of work in a very short period of time. So on that, oh boy. On the motion from the Finance and Physical Development Committee and the Campus Development Working Group, I move the full board approve the following resolution. Okay, whereas, it's only 3 pages, folks. Whereas by 2040, James Madison University strives to be nationally recognized for creating a new model for higher education, redefining the role of the university as the preferred partner, collaborative innovator, and visionary research leader in service to the Shenandoah Valley, the Commonwealth, and the nation. And whereas the board and the administration are adopting a 2032 strategic plan and a 2040 strategic vision with the goal of building a university that leads with purpose, innovation, and public impact. And whereas the university has undertaken a comprehensive campus planning process led by the university in partnership Sasaki and initiated in the summer of 2024 with extensive engagements of students, faculty, staff, and key stakeholders across the university and the broader community. And whereas the campus planning process, which took place from 2024 to 2026, was designed to be interactive and inclusive, incorporating feedback at multiple stages to refine and strengthen the plan and to align it with the university's mission and strategic objectives. And whereas the resulting campus master plan establishes a cohesive, long-range framework to guide the physical development of the university in alignment with its strategic plan, including strengthening the academic core, enhancing the student, residential, and co-curricular experience, improving connectivity across campus, advancing research and academic facilities, and identifying opportunities for strategic development and partnerships. And whereas the campus master plan organizes future growth into a series of campus districts and development opportunity areas, allowing the university to pursue phased, intentional, and adaptive development over time. And whereas the board recognizes that the new strategic plan calls for the creation of an innovative campus community to be developed in appropriate phases, beginning with residential buildings. And whereas the board recognizes that living on campus leads to better student outcomes, including graduation and retention rates, mental health and well-being, and a sense of connection. And whereas the board acknowledges that the university must move forward boldly, but responsibly in keeping with its mission, vision, and values. Therefore, the James Madison University Board of Visitors hereby resolves as follows. 1, the board hereby approves the campus master plan as the long-range framework for the future physical development of the university and affirms its expectations and implementation and subsequent details of its final form will remain aligned with the strategic plan, supporting student success and academic excellence, reflect sound financial stewardship, and be executed in a phased and disciplined manner. 2, the board affirms its commitment to a long-term vision for the development of residential campus in alignment with the university's academic priorities and dedication to student success. 3, pending approval from the governor as required under Chapter 725, the board authorizes the exploration and evaluation of the use of the Virginia Public-Private Education Facilities and Infrastructure Act process for the development of campus capital projects, so long as doing so will result in lower total cost for students over time when compared to traditional delivery methods, is found to be fiscally responsible, and enables faster delivery of the projects. 4, the board establishes clear expectations and an understanding that authorization to explore and evaluate the use of the PPEA process is not an explicit authorization of any actual construction, and further that said approval is not an explicit authorization of an agreement with any specific private partner, but rather authorizes to proceed through the state-approved process to identify and explore and evaluate PPEA opportunities. 5, the board further directs the administration to immediately begin identifying alternative space solutions for all programs and activities currently housed in Godwin Hall. 6, the board further directs the administration to prioritize finding a new home for all academic programs potentially displaced from Godwin Hall in the upcoming session. 7, the board further directs the administration to seek potential healthcare partners for the purpose of developing the stadium district. 8, the board directs the administration to take definitive steps toward accomplishing the first phase of the residential development on campus. 9, the board finally directs the administration to return to it during the summer to present an update related to the exploration and evaluation of the use of the PPEA process, and to present a specific proposal for the construction of the first new residential buildings. Madam Rector, I move the report of the campus working development group be accepted.
Don't need a second on this one. Any discussion? Big decision here. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Clear.
Aye.
We're passing the resolution. Yes.
I would clarify,
Okay.
not the report, but the resolution first.
All those in favor of approving the resolution as read by Dave Rexroad signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much, Dave.
So, Madam Rector, I remove the report of the campus group be accepted.
Now I do need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of receiving Dave's report signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Thank you very much. Next up, we have Steve and Finance and go ahead.
Yeah, fiscal development. Yes, the Finance and Fiscal Development Committee heard the following reports at the meeting of Thursday, April 23rd. The financial review, the university's revenue and expenditures were appropriate for the period from July 1, 25 through February 28, 26 of the fiscal year. On the audit review, the committee was provided with an update of the university's financial statements audit. The university received an unmodified opinion on the statements, and the university received no written findings on the audit. The proposed tuition and fees, the tuition and fees proposal for 26-27 was presented. The committee recommends approval of the 26-27 tuition and fees proposal by the full board. Tawana will present the proposed 26-27 tuition and fees later in this meeting. Under the proposed budget for 26-27, we heard about the proposed budget in the 26-27 fiscal year was presented, and the committee approved this university budget, which provides for mandated compensation and benefit increases, higher healthcare insurance costs, inflationary operating expenses, and targeted investments aligned with the new strategic plan and institutional priorities. The committee recommends approval of the 26-27 proposed budget by the full board. Tawana will also give a presentation on the 26-27 proposed budget later in this meeting. The master plan update, the committee received a presentation on the university's master plan and associated campus development plan, which together provides the long-term physical framework for implementing the university's strategic plan and the 10-year vision. The committee approved the resolution approving the master plan and advancing campus development. We also went into a closed session. The committee met in closed session to discuss real estate matters. No action was taken by the committee in that meeting. Madam Rector, I move that the Physical Development Committee and Finance Committee report be accepted as presented.
Thank you, Steve. I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting Steve's report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much. Next up, we have governance. Jack was not able to be with us. So at the governance committee, we approved the committee reviewed the campus public expression policy in conversation with JMU staff. The University Policy Committee reviewed the policy as part of their previously scheduled standard process and made minor adjustments such as aligning language in the student handbook and adding a map to assisting identifying controlled and non-controlled spaces. The committee appreciated the work and that the university is committed to protecting and promoting the freedom of speech guaranteed by the United States Constitution, as well as the Constitution of Virginia and applicable Virginia law. The university values creating robust conversations and debate, listening to and learning from opposing views, and growing in understanding and enlightening citizens. The committee also discussed the recent Board of Visitors retreat, affirming the format and content for future consideration. The committee appreciated the open conversations and the ability to share and be sharpened by each other's ideas. The committee also recognized the alignment of the board with the university leadership and the importance of board voices in these strategic conversations. And I move the report of the governance committee be accepted.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of receiving the governance report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now we have philanthropy. Michael.
Thank you, Madam Rector. Madam Rector and members of the board. The Philanthropy and Engagement Committee met yesterday and received several updates that reflect accelerating momentum across the university. We began with a report on fundraising. Sean Gordon shared that athletics for fiscal year 2026 totals $5.8 million in gifts from 9,832 donors, reflecting strong and broad-based support. Jeff Gilligan then reported that the university has secured $21.1 million in committed funds to date this fiscal year. Gift expectations remain strong at $7.1 million. Looking ahead, the pipeline is substantial with 482 major gifts in cultivation, totaling $171.6 million. 113 active solicitations totaling $65.4 million and 92 closed major gifts totaling $18.4 million. Next, Nick Langridge shared an update on engagement in his vice president's report. Following the presidential listening tour this fall, energy has continued to build with strong participation. I don't know how you guys do this, across an incredibly full slate of spring events, including the Stewardship Luncheon, Alumni Awards Gala, Madison Trust. The list goes on. Women for Madison Rally, Valley Scholars Donor Event, and the launch of the Founders Network. At the Madison Trust event on March 13th, all 10 projects received a total of $112,000 in funding. That outcome reflects both the quality of the ideas and the confidence our donors in supporting those ideas. Nick also shared that the university has launched the Madison Promise Fund to support President Jim's broader vision. Finally, Nick introduced Maddie, a virtual engagement officer powered by advanced intelligence. Check it out. We then heard from Liz Fravel, who reported that annual giving is increasing in both dollars and donor count, running counter to national trends. As President Jim reported, on March 26, JMU held its 10th Giving Day, setting a record for total contributions of over $1.2 million. With that, Madam Rector, I move to accept the report of the Philanthropy and Engagement Committee.
Here a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting Michael's report on philanthropy and engagement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much. Terry, take us home with student affairs.
Great. We had a really super meeting. So the Student Affairs Committee heard the following reports yesterday, April 23rd. Heather Hedrick, I really appreciate it. She spent some probably 10 to 15 minutes. We recognized many of the staff members that were honored by national organizations for their contributions, leadership, and work. They have leadership and are actively contributing in their expertise in the field. And it was pretty impressive that you could see not only were we participating, but we were actually leading. And I'm gonna go off script and do a call out. Our own Carson Lonnet, and she's here, is the chair-elect of the National Strategic Administrative Operations Executive Committee. It's called NASPA. And it's otherwise known as the Chiefs of Staffs across all universities. So she's the chair-elect this year, and she'll be the chair the following year. And I just want to call her out because she's a quiet person and you don't see it, but here she is, powerhouse and quiet. And thank you so much for all that you do. Then Carson also provided an update on the Gallup Q12 employee engagement survey that was implemented in student affairs this spring to measure and cultivate a culture of engagement. And I work in healthcare. We do it every year with all employees. So I am going to have a challenge to President Jim to consider doing this across the entire university. It really does give you powerful information that you can learn and grow and feedback. It has a direct impact on absenteeism, turnover, productivity, and all organizations. We had a 92% response rate in the Student Affairs Division and a 60% engagement rate, which is 3 times the rate of engagement across all organizations using this measurement. We had a 4.2 out of 5 overall engagement mean score, and only 5% of the staff were actively unengaged. They're either actively engaged or I forgot the middle one, and then unengaged. And it was only 5%. And that compares to 16% across all universities. So that's pretty impressive. Engagement, culture, and leadership practices are embedded in the university strategic plan within Pillar 2, investing in our people. The committee recommended that the Q12 survey be considered and established across all JMU as a key measure for that pillar. Charlotte Bronner, our student body president, and Sydney Stafford, our student representative of the Board of Visitors, gave their final reports to the committee. They shared updates, reviewed their goals, and discussed their accomplishments. Charlotte was also introduced Jessica Abaji, thank you, our incoming student body president, and Sydney introduced Graham Sherb the incoming student representative of the Board of Visitors, which Suzanne also introduced earlier this morning. Wendy Konecki, the president of the Graduate Student Association, also chaired about graduate student activities and professional development, community building, and their future plans to work with SGA. Libby Wesley and Jeremy Hawkins shared the continuing story of Madison, the fictional student that we've had, and how she has beginning to step into her independence and the choices that she's making. And if you remember from previous presentations, we've kind of walked Madison through her first freshman year. She's had some really good things happen and some challenges that JMU, she's relied on JMU staff to help her through. They discussed her career exploration, her experience finding off-campus housing, and her plan for the future. The presentation was followed by a panel of students, 3 students that shared their experiences in preparing for their second year on campus and the important work of the Career Center. Also just want to personally say I've been on this committee for 4 years and chaired it for the last few. And Tim, Dr. Miller has been really, I've seen him grow. And one of the things I appreciated most is he took the Student Life Committee charter and the 5 pillars that we have in that and made sure that everything the committee did throughout the year tied back to one of those. So we can confidently tell you that the committee has reviewed everything that's in our charter pretty thoroughly throughout the year. And I really do appreciate it. I do think that Dr. Miller's exemplifies somebody who's committed, engaged, growing. You know, he showed me that somebody over 35 can do podcasts and can do live videos that people actually watch. They actually look at his videos that he does. He's also mentored, invested in the students, and oftentimes when students leave the role that Sydney or Charlotte have, they'll comment on the impact that Dr. Miller has made on their personal development apart from their role, and I really do appreciate that. So at that point, the meeting adjourned at 2:29, and Madam Rector, I move the report of Student Affairs Committee be accepted.
Thank you. Have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting Terry's report on student affairs signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much, Terry. Now I would like to call on Kathy for her final report to the board, and we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Madam Rector. Good morning. The Faculty Senate is working with academic affairs to develop a list of common policies and procedures for departments and colleges. These recommendations include policies such as voting at the college and departmental level, class scheduling policies, annual evaluations, in who's involved in those, overload assignments, and hiring practices that may vary from academic affairs hiring guidelines, as well as several others. The Appeals Committee within Faculty Senate is going to, now that you have approved the faculty handbook, will move out of Faculty Senate and will be a university committee. The Senate will be responsible for appointing the chair of the new Faculty Appeals Committee. The chair that we've selected is Chris Wiley from the College of Education, and he will serve the first inaugural 3 years of the new Faculty Appeals Committee. Senate for the next year or so is going to work with administration on faculty workload and investigating faculty workload over the next few years. The Madison Vision Teaching Award, which is given to faculty members who excel in engaged learning. These awards are unique on campus as the winners are selected solely by students. This award was designed to identify faculty who've been most involved in fostering student learning and to give students a voice in recognizing excellent teaching. Winners of the Madison Vision Teaching Award this year are David Brennan, instructor in WRTC, Keith Grant, associate professor in political science, and Cyril Huey, assistant professor in philosophy and religion. The Shared Governance Committee will work to develop a clear process for votes of no confidence, including codifying that process through the Senate bylaws. While excited about the future of JMU, some faculty have expressed concerns regarding the potential transition to R1. Those concerns are related to research and teaching space, the impact on faculty workload, establishing grant funding, first at the R2 level, and also changes to JMU's campus culture. We would like to see a clear definition of R2 and a plan on how to sustain that before moving forward.
While R1 can be thought of as an institutional culture, it is ultimately an objective designation that a university produces 50 million in research funding and 70 research PhDs on an annual basis. Competing with existing R2s as well as R1s, faculty salaries, startup packages, and retention will be a challenge for JMU. Senate elections will take place next week at our final meeting of the year. All executive positions are open. Speaker, Speaker Pro Tem, Communications Director, Marshal, and Treasurer. This is my last month and a half as Speaker, and I want to thank everyone who's been part of my experience over the last 4 years. It's been a great time.
Thank you very much. We will look forward to seeing who the Faculty Senate selects next week to sit with us.
Only one person on the list, so.
Oh.
Nothing comes from the floor.
Very fine. Well, good to know. Sydney.
Hi, everyone. I can't believe we're already at our last board meeting, but I'm so grateful to see you all here today. I want to begin by providing a brief update on some of my initiatives from the past couple months. In an effort to continue supporting the presidential transition with students, I hosted an event called Duke Spring Forward that I will discuss more in a little bit. I also supported key inauguration events such as the brunch, the gala, and the All Dukes Welcome event. Finally, I have continued to meet with President Jim monthly. I have also supported tuition hearing outreach. I have continued to meet with students across campus, and I have given speeches to students at the Admitted Students Open House to continue educating and informing students about the Board of Visitors. Finally, I've supported students in alignment with the Student Affairs Strategic Plan by focusing on the pillar of security. As I mentioned, there is one event I am particularly excited to share, Duke Spring Forward. I started working on this event back in January, and originally we were trying to replicate halftime on the quad, but with so much dedication from our partners, this event quickly turned into a tradition of its own. While this semester in event served as an opportunity for students to celebrate the halfway point of the semester, it also provided a space for students to reflect on their JMU experience so far. We had postcard stations set up around the quad where students could share their JMU experience with an admitted student through a postcard. Over 750 postcards were signed, which means that over 750 admitted students received a handwritten note from a current JMU students, which is so incredibly impactful. Alongside postcard stations, we had Smiley's ice cream, Stripes donuts, quad games, music, dinner, and so much more. Special shout out to Office of the President for sponsoring this event, Admissions and Student Affairs for being such amazing partners in the planning, and to the Student Government Association, Students for Minority Outreach, and Student Ambassadors for the over 40 student volunteers. I think this event and engagement serves as a testament to the community we have and the thoughtful student body that cares so much about continuing to build a culture of kindness. I truly believe this event will continue for years to come, and I'm so proud to have played a part in its beginning. So as I reflected on the past 2 years, I wanted to share some of my favorite initiatives and accomplishments. During my term, I have hosted and planned 2 Virginia Student Rep to the Board of Visitors conferences and helped start a 3rd one that will occur every spring. JMU will always host the one in the fall, but schools in Virginia will alternate hosting a conference centered around reflection in the spring. I, alongside my successor in Charlotte, will be attending the first spring conference tomorrow at Virginia Tech. I also hosted and planned 2 halftime on the quad events and created a new event that I just mentioned, Duke Spring Forward. I also created a new tradition called Get to Know President Jim dinners, and I will actually be meeting with orientation next week to start planning these dinners for next semester into the Weeks of Welcome programming. I have met with hundreds of students to hear their perspective on topics such as tuition, policy changes, degree requirements, the hiring of our next president, and so much more, while also meeting with many candidates for varying JMU positions, including the VP of Marketing, Provost, VP of Enrollment Management, and of course, the University President, just to name a few. I have also had lots of practice with public speaking over the past 2 years, as I've given 5 admitted student open houses, formerly known as Choices, served as the new student convocation student speaker, and gave a speech at the inauguration brunch and gala. Lastly, but certainly not least, my biggest legacy has been serving on the JMU Presidential Search Committee. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to select a university leader that truly embodies the campus culture we pride ourselves on, and for the opportunity of a lifetime that allows my legacy to grow even after I graduate. These past 2 years have provided me with so many opportunities to learn, to grow, and to give back to the Madison community. I'm so thankful for each of them, and I'm excited to continue serving our community as an alum. I would not have been able to accomplish these initiatives and bring my ideas to life without the support from the Board of Visitors, senior leaders, students, and JMU staff. Over 2 years and lots of trial and error, I was able to discover some best practices for this role that I would like to pass on to my successor. So many doors have been opened because of the open communication between myself and university leadership, including board members. Because of the connections we have made, I have received so much guidance and mentorship that made my student rep experience so meaningful. Opportunities to present at both the full board meeting and student affairs meeting allowed me to discuss the student experience in its entirety and share the support I have received from so many departments on campus. My work is so multifaceted and I collaborate with so many different people, so the opportunity to discuss this work in both spaces is so important. I've also really appreciated the opportunity to provide student feedback on board initiatives and on university searches for positions. It has not only allowed me to grow professionally, but has given students an opportunity to be heard in a space that they would not have otherwise. Finally, I want to emphasize how meaningful conversations with you all as board members have been. I've learned so much from you, and I'm so grateful for every moment we've gotten to share. Perfect. As my time at JMU has come to a close, I've done a lot of reflecting on everything that has made my college experience so special. It is crazy that I have now spent half of my time at JMU serving on the Board of Visitors. I have a lot of thank yous, so bear with me. I want to thank all of our board members for their endless dedication and service to the student body. Your work does not go unnoticed, and I truly had the best, most enriching experience learning from you. I knew I could reach out to you all at any time, and your support, kindness, and willingness to engage with us students meant the world. Thank you for everything. I want to especially thank Rector Obenshain and Vice Rector Edwards for your leadership on the board. In the past 2 years, I have seen not only foundational improvements, but a growing engagement from our board that is so unique. After hearing experiences from student leaders at other schools, I see how lucky we are to have such proactive and passionate leadership. To President Jim and senior leaders, thank you for being such friendly and kind faces on campus. I've worked with all of you in some capacity, and you are exactly what makes JMU so special. Our university would not be the same without you, and students can really feel your love from campus from so far. Thank you for teaching me so much, for giving so much of yourselves to our community, and for being what makes JMU JMU. To everyone else in the room, my fellow students and JMU staff, thank you for your endless support and encouragement. I couldn't have accomplished anything without you guys in this room, and I'm so grateful to be leading JMU with such a strong support system. Finally, I would like to thank my mom for being here. She traveled from Northern Virginia. Thank you for being my biggest cheerleader and encouraging me to run for the role. I'm so excited to share that after graduation, I will be interning at Pharma in DC and will be attending UMass Law. I'm so excited for this next chapter. It has truly been an honor to serve as your student rep, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Sydney. We are all very proud of you. Keep in touch. Remember, you're soon to be an alumni and we like your dollars. Luana.
I'm always so proud of our students, but I'm always so sad when they leave. You get attached and it's terrible. Oh, okay. So we're going to talk about our 26-27 proposed tuition and fees. Before I start on that, I just wanted to give you 2 little bits of information. They're kind of huge. One is we do not have a budget from Richmond yet. So there are some pieces of our presentation today where we're making our best guess at what we think is going to happen. And so I'll point those out to you when we get to those. And then the other information I wanted to provide just for everyone here is that we did have our tuition hearing on April 15th that we're required to do by the Commonwealth. We did not have any students to sign up to come and speak to us. We did have 3 written comments which have been provided to the board members. So let's start out with education and general funding. Education and general funding is the part of the budget that concentrates on educating the students. So those are, that's faculty, it's the library, it's those sorts of things that are directly related to the education of our students. And this is a big part of our budget. As you can see here, it's $487.9 million. And it's made up of three components. The largest is tuition, which is 58.5%. 40.4% is general funds. That's money that was provided from the Commonwealth. And then there's a very small amount that comes from associated, fees like admissions fees, orientation fees, things like that. So this is a chart that actually shows where the money from that E&G budget is spent. And this is an important chart because it shows, if you look at the purple, gold, green, and orange sections of that chart, 73.4% of that budget is made up of people. So there is a lot of people working to educate our students. That's the majority of where our money goes. And I tell you that because when we talk about cost saving measures, there's a limited amount of money within this that you have to operate within to cut things because you don't want to cut people. And then 11.3% over here, if you look at the other category, which is this red piece of pie, this chart actually shows what makes up that red piece of pie, and 11% of it is financial aid. So you're down to about 15% of your E&G budget that you can cut and maneuver and change things. And I think that shows how efficient the university is. So we will have increases this year, and so I'm going to go through all of those, but I wanted to show this chart of just why those increases are necessary. The biggest cost driver that we have going this year is our salary adjustments. Now, this is one area because Richmond hasn't passed a budget yet. We're not sure exactly what it's going to be. The Senate had proposed 3% increase for all full-time faculty and staff members. The House proposed 2%, bless you. And so we built in the 3% because we wanted to make sure that we were covered. Now, on the E&G side, that cost for 3%, a 3% increase for our full-time faculty and staff is $8.3 million. Now, the Commonwealth will give us roughly half of that money, but we have to find the other half. Now, on the auxiliary side, it's $1.5 million, and we have to fund all of that because auxiliaries do not receive any sort of money from the state for support. So the next one is the fringe benefits. Our benefits went up this year by 6%. They're going up next year 13%, which is a huge cost to us. It's $6.2 million on the E&G side. It's $1.6 million on the auxiliary side. So these are huge factors for us. In addition, President Jim talked about our pillars that we're doing for our strategic plan, and one of them is investments in our people. And for the last several years, we have made sure that we have built money into our budget so that we can provide for faculty promotions, we can provide in-band adjustments, which is where you look at a classified employee's job duties, and if they're doing new job duties or they've gotten new degrees or things like that, things that they should be compensated for, we built in money for that for those classified employees. So there's a lot of dollars that go into those. The next thing is inflation. The February inflation was 2.4%. In March, it went to 3.3%. It's continuing to grow because of all the things that are happening in the world. We are not immune from that. You're going to see increases in our utilities and energy costs and food costs, gas, all of those things. And so it does affect us. The budget office asks every year, asks all of the VPs to give us a list of all the things that they're currently doing in their areas that have gone up, where the prices have gone up and they need help. We call that cost to continue. A lot of those costs come in the way of IT licenses. Those tend to go up every year. We're seeing a lot of that. Also in periodicals in the libraries. So you're gonna see, there's some inflation. We had about $3 million worth of requests that came into us. We were only able to fund about $1.4 million of it. So what that means is every department's gonna have to tighten their belt, and they're gonna have to prioritize, and there's gonna be some things they won't be able to do because they're gonna have to cover these increased costs. The investment in academic support and enhanced student services. Again, these requests come through all of the divisions. We started because we were working on the strategic plan the whole time. We started to see that the requests that were coming in from the various vice presidents and their divisions were in support of those pillars that we have for the strategic plan. So, Tim had a request for additional disability services, and Nick had requests for additional philanthropic support. Bob had additional employees for AI, and Anthony had a position for student research. Matt always has stuff for us. We always know that's coming, so there's increased costs for athletics. And then we wanted to, enhance what Melinda's doing in admissions, because we are really proud of those numbers and we want to make sure we get the students here. And then we had to fund bringing Christine. So her position and all of that was a new area for us, which we're thrilled about. And then finally, forward-looking strategies, we put some money aside for the Madison Promise, because as we continue our work this summer, we'll have to make sure that we have funds available to do those things. Now, this chart shows our support from the Commonwealth, which is the dark purple, our financial aid, which is lavender, and then the cream color is our tuition. So it shows all the components of the general fund budget, and it compares JMU with our 15 sister institutions. And if you look all the way to the right, we're the lowest one because we are the lowest funded. You can see the bullets there. We received $2,935 less per in-state student than the average, which is $12,297 for all the four-year publics. Now you can take this chart one of two ways. You could say I'm whining, and I've heard that, but you can also say, and this is what I want to convey to you, how proud we are of what we're able to do with the money that we have. I think we're really efficient. I think that when you go and you attend the things that happen in the classrooms and you see the things our students are doing, it's a tremendous source of pride for all of us. And when you compare the fact that we have a 94% approval rating from our students, they're satisfied, they're happy to be here. Our job outcomes are extremely high. Our students within 6 months of graduating, they're either going to graduate school, they have a job, or they're in the military. Very high percentages. Our retention rate is high, and we do it with these dollars. So I say it's a great story to tell, and I just think it's important for all of you to see that. So these are the expenses, the expense categories, and I've talked a little bit about some of those, but this is for the E&G, the budget. So the additional revenues that we'll get this year is $18.2 million, and these categories are how we'll spend them. As I've said, the majority of the money is in that compensation and benefits. That 12.4 is a huge price. Then we have the Madison Promise and strategic initiatives, and the 30.7 on down through this reallocation. This was money that we raised last year. It was a 2% tuition increase last year that we put in a holding pattern that was required by the board, and we're going to be using that for support of our Madison Promise. So what is a student value? I actually, using AI, I'm one of those 60 age people that Jim was talking about, but I'm trying to embrace AI and all the things. So I put in there, what happens, what's the difference if you have a college degree versus if you don't? And the percentages are pretty staggering. So having a college degree is a great student value for our students. And it, as my mother said, your education is something that no one can ever take away from you. So it follows you your whole life. And then you see all of these other things. We're really excited to be working on additional networks and internships. Our student engagement is amazing, and you know, we're just going to be doing a lot of things. So let's talk about the auxiliaries. Auxiliary enterprises are those services that we have on campus. And here's an example of housing, dining, student health. And you see all the lists there. And as I've said before, auxiliaries are areas, they're more like services. They're things that you can participate in, you know, like the marching band, that sort of thing. But they have to be covered 100% by the fees or the fines that are raised by the individual departments. So like, for instance, parking is an auxiliary. So we don't receive any money from the state for parking, and we have to pay for all the people, all the lot maintenance, tickets, snow removal, free striping, anything that has to do with that operation has to be paid for by money that's raised through the decal, the permits that are bought, and the fines and that sort of thing. So it's very important that students realize that your auxiliaries are not funded by the state in any way. An auxiliary is a comprehensive fee, and these are examples of departments that are supported by the comprehensive fee. You'll see transportation, so there's a big part of our buses are supported by that comprehensive fee, as well as athletics. So our proposal for next year for the comprehensive fee is a $234 increase, which is $117 per semester. On this comprehensive side, they have the same sort of cost drivers that I've talked to you about on the E&G side. We have compensation. We're building in that 3% salary increase. The only difference here is that we have to fund all of it, as I've said before. We don't get any help. And then that 13% increase in health insurance is significant. We have inflationary cost drivers and contracts. Our Airmark contract is supported by, no, it's not my fault. That's not true. The bus contract is falls under the comprehensive fee. So we do have contracts that we have to do. Maintenance and operations, this is where that increase in utilities is going to come in. And then scholarships, we have to raise those. Anytime you're raising your tuition and fees, you want to raise your scholarships as well. This chart shows our student dining and housing combined together. And you can see if you compare us with several of the other institutions in the Commonwealth, we're next to last in terms of our cost for dining and housing. So our student housing and dining fee proposal for this year, we're adding 2 additional differential categories. One is for a rate for any student that has a single room. That would be at $1,000 annual charge. And then we added a category for those housing operations that do not have AC but are suite style. So that's basically the village. So, and there's a $400 differential charge for them. So your base rate, which will basically be Eagle and Short, we're proposing a $388 annual increase, which is $194 a semester. That is a 6% increase. We're starting to build in money so that we can do some of the things that are in the development plan as we start doing those new residence halls. The dining fee, we're proposing an increase of $302 for the year, or $151 a semester. So the combined percentage increase for room and board is 5.3%. And that brings us to our proposed tuition and fees. For an in-state undergraduate student, our proposal is $234 for the year for tuition and fees. That is a 2.8% increase. Our comprehensive fee is $234 as well. And as I've said to the committee, we checked this several times because it seems a little odd that they would end up being the same dollar amount, but they are. And that is a 3.9% increase. And then, as I said, room and board is 5.3%. And your total on-campus cost for a Virginia student would be $1,158 for the year. For an out-of-state student, the tuition would be $436 increase, which is 1.7%. And then the comprehensive fee and the room and board fees are the same, whether you're in or out of state. So their total on-campus cost, if they live on campus, would be $1,360 for the year. The same percentages are applied for graduate students. It's for in-state, it's a $17 per credit hour increase, and for out-of-state, it's $24. Then last year, we brought the differential tuition for the College of Business and for nursing before the board, and it was required that I bring it back again each year. So we are proposing a $5 per credit hour increase for differential tuition for the College of Business and a $7 one for the College of Nursing. We also set summer rates at this meeting. These are summer rates for next summer. The rates for this summer have already been established. So again, those percentages apply. So for an undergraduate in Virginia, for summer school per credit hour, it's a $12 change. For an out-of-state student, it's $17. For a Virginia graduate, it's an increase of $14 per credit hour, and for an out-of-state graduate, bless you, it is $19 per credit hour. And then for your student services, it's just $1 per credit hour across all of those, and room and board is an increase of $7 for room and for board. I also like to show this chart every year because this time of year you'll start hearing people talk about the differences between the institutions, and they compare percentages when they talk about the increases. And I want you to be aware that when you talk about percentages, your dollars don't equate to the same thing. A 1% increase in tuition for JMU is $84. A 1% increase for William and Mary is $194. So if you're comparing and you read in the paper and it says both of us are increasing by 3%, I think most people think, oh, they're the same, and they're not. Because our tuition is so low, when you apply that percentage, it does not generate the level of dollars for the university. And if you look at the middle bullet, our in-state tuition is 21% less than the average of the other public institutions in Virginia. So again, it is a bargain for our students. This chart shows if you take the proposal that I just provided for you for all of those fee systems and you increased it. So you see in-state tuition, the fees, room and board, all the way over to your far right, the total in-state and total out-of-state figures. The shaded areas for JMU are the new numbers for us. If you apply the increases compared to everybody else's tuition, fees, everything at this year's rates. So you see, even though we're showing our increases here, we're still in the middle of the pack. If you look to the far right, most people, they write one check all in. If you look where we are, we're towards the bottom actually for in-state. So we're still very competitive. And this chart shows some of the other institutions. There's some out-of-state ones sprinkled in here too. These are folks that Melinda competes against to try to get students to come here. There's 29 different institutions. As I said, some are in-state. And if you look at the top two, you see they're really up there. And JMU is 21. And that's with our new rates and their rates for this year. So. Madam Rector, this does require action from the board.
Madam Rector, I've got two separate motions to make.
Okay.
Madam Rector, a motion on motion from the Finance and Physical Development Committee. I move that the 26-27 tuition and fees be approved as presented today.
I don't need a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the tuition increase as proposed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? You have it.
Madam Rector, another motion from the Finance and Physical Development Committee. I move that the tuition and fees for the 27 summer session be approved as presented today.
No second. Any discussion?
Madam Rector, I just have a question regarding that. So are students able to live on campus through the summer?
We do have some kids who stay on campus. It's not a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. I meant to ask that last night.
Any other questions or clarifications? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the tuition increases for next summer's session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, thank you very much. Tawana, let's do budget.
Okay. Okay, so based on the action that you took just now, we built this budget. And so this is our current budget, 25-26, shows the 4 components. I've talked about education in general and auxiliary today. You also see the financial aid, and then sponsored programs is mainly Anthony's area. But the total budget right now is $824.7 million. So education in general, the increase that's provided by the action that you just took equates to $18.2 million. That's broken up into 2 parts. The top part, which you see total general fund revenue, is 11.9. Those are dollars that are provided by the state. So, and this is where we're making assumptions because the budget has not been passed yet. And so we know this top line, the salary fringe benefits, this 7.5, that's half of the increases that I talked to you about, where we find the other half. So we know the state will provide those for us. These next 2 things, affordable access and the Fast Flex nursing program, those are things that we hope will make it through when the budget is passed. Now, the Fast Flex was in both the House and the Senate, so we feel good that that will happen. There were dollars available for affordable access. We're taking our best guess. Those of you that have been here since I've been in this role for the last 4 years, we've not had a budget yet. So we've guessed every single time for the last 4 years. And I have to commend the budget office because they do an amazing job and they've hit it every year. So I'm hopeful we will again, but that is an assumption. Then the bottom part of the chart, the non-general fund revenue, that's the tuition. So that's where you see the 6.2. There's some other revenue in there, but it's predominantly tuition, which totals that 18.2. So how we would spend it, we talked about this in my previous discussion about tuition and fees. The largest amount of this is that compensation and benefits. The Madison Promise, that portion of this 3.7 is about $2.1 million. And then we have strategic initiatives there. Our facilities, operations and contract obligations, that's about $2 million. A lot of that is opening up the new library. Between that and some nursing that we have there. Our cost continues, we discussed, is those inflationary items, the increase in financial aid, and then I spoke about that reallocation of the funds we voted for last year. So that totals the incremental expenditures of the 18.2. On the auxiliary side, these numbers look a little bit different because we have other things we have to pay for. But this is the revenue. The comprehensive fee will generate $5.8 million. The room fee will generate 4.3 on down to incremental revenue of 12.5 for the auxiliary side of the house. And then where would you spend it? Well, you see here, because we're an auxiliary and we have to cover everything, there's some debt that comes into play. You don't see that on the E&G side because the Commonwealth provides the money when you build buildings. Here on the residence life and dining and parking and all the things that we have on the auxiliary side, we're responsible for paying for those. So you see there's some debt here. There's also, we're starting to build up some reserves in support of the Madison Promise. So the 4.1 has about $2.1 million that we're building there. here's where our facilities, operations and contractual obligations are. Here's where Airmark is, the 3.2, some of that is them. It's just increase in operations. Some of it is athletics where we've had to increase their dollars as well. Compensation and benefits of 3.1. We have to cover all of those increases there. Cost to continue is the inflation, financial aid, and then these two, the strategic initiatives is 2 positions in athletics. It's a baseball and a softball coach that the Sunbelt is requiring us to have. So that makes up the 12.5 on the auxiliary side. So then it just brings us to our total budget. If we hit our assumptions pretty well, this is what we think we'll have. It's going to go from $824.7 million to $860.6 million, increase of 35.9, and it's a 4.4% increase. And I was asked last night if once we find out what it finally is, we do present that to the Finance and Physical Development Committee. We'll do that in September, but we'll provide that for the whole board so that you all know. But Madam Rector, this does require action.
Madam Rector, on motion from the Finance and Fiscal Development Committee, I move that the 26-27 budget be approved as presented here today.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the budget for 26-27 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much, Tawana. Nice work. Next up, we have the election of officers, and I want to call on Terry Edwards. Terry and her committee of Steve Smith and Jolie made up the nominating committee, and Terry will report.
First of all, I want to thank Steve and Jolie, and individually, we've called each one of you and gotten your comments, and by correspondence have given you updates. So thank you, Steve, and Jolie is not here, but thank you both. Madam Rector, I move the slate of board officers be approved as presented.
And they're up on the board, and there's no second, but I'd like to have discussion at this point. Is there anybody that has anything that they'd like to change, add?
Do the nominees accept?
I told David there was a lot of.
Their arms have been dutifully twisted.
Yeah, I've had conversations with both candidates, and both have accepted, so it's not a surprise to them. I told David it was a slim vote. No. It draw straws. David was great.
Okay, hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the slate of officers for the incoming leadership for the next 2 years signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Congratulations, Dave and Nicole and David for having the leadership responsibilities for the next 2 years. I know you will do a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to turning the gavel over.
Madam Rector, if I may, I'd like to ask Nicole maybe, and then Dave after her, just give some brief comments. Just
Sure.
not anything, just not anything major, but comments that you shared with me by email.
Okay, of course, Madam Vice Rector. Well, first and foremost, I would just say thank you to everybody who threw their support or recommendation to Dave and I's way. This institution changed the trajectory of my life, and I don't have a lot of financial things to offer to this university, but I do have a lot of heart and a lot of passion for it to not just succeed, but to thrive. And so I will make sure, and I promise to each and every one of you, I'll make my own JMU promise, that I will do everything in my power to make sure that happens during my tenure and beyond. So I appreciate your support, and you know, everyone knows how to get in touch with me, so I hope you do. And thank you.
Echoing that, obviously, thanks for the support and encouragement to do this. It's, when I started as a freshman, I don't think that was ever a consideration, that I would be here. But I mean, first and foremost, I want to thank Suzanne and Terry. I mean, the last 2 years have been probably most transformative in this university in a long, long time. Going from an outgoing president, an interim president, presidential search committee, new president, SWOT analysis, strategic plan, campus development plan, everything that's been done in 2 years has really set the university up for long-term success. So first and foremost, thank you to both of you, because you're giving us the ability to step into a easier role than what you've had the last 2 years with all the fundamental changes that have occurred. As always, y'all know how to get a hold of me. I'm always available. Look forward to the next 2 years. And for me, it's going to be focused on keeping the main thing, which is educating the students here on campus. That is our priority. That is our mission. Obviously, as an alumni, that's important to me because I got my education here and everything I've accomplished is because of that. Secondary, because my daughter is here. She's finishing her freshman year. So it's also personal for me because I see firsthand when I talk to her on a daily basis or text her on a daily basis, what she's encouraging or what she's seeing. And so I'm able to get it from a real time as to the successes, the challenges, and want to bring that to this situation as well, to be able to take that perspective along the same line with both Jessica and Graham. Really look forward to working with y'all because again, the main thing is the main thing, which is y'all. And so hearing from you, both of you, what's going on campus is going to be important so that we can make sure that we're doing our job to students because that's our priority. And then obviously, Kathy, whoever your successor is, we want to have that same relationship because at the end of the day, what people remember most about their college experience is their interactions with the professors and what they learned. And so making sure that we are having that good working relationship so that the professors are able to do what they love to do, which is educate our students. So looking forward to the next 2 years.
Thank you. And that was purposefully unscripted because I felt like if you heard their hearts, you'd realize that they're both going to be an excellent leader for the rest of you in the years to come.
You. And now we will go to the recognition of board members. And I would like to present Terry Edwards and Michael Stutzfuss with, oh, there we are.
It's like Lisa's watching or something.
I knew they were supposed to be somewhere, with a token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Jack White could not be here and Jolie Mock could not be here but they will be here at graduation. So we will be presenting them with the same gifts that you all have just received. Then we won't mail them. We'll give them to them in person and show the love.
You're supposed to take a pause.
Oh,
Because there's another member of the class who has decided that she's served her term. And so before we continue, I wanted to take a moment to recognize Suzanne Obenchain personally. You've given 4 years of dedicated service to this board since joining it in 2022. And I'll get to the rector part in a second. On behalf of the entire university community, I want to express our deep gratitude for your commitment, your wisdom, your countless hours, all those late night calls you've gotten from me and probably others that you've invested in this institution. Even though she's went to that other institution down the road, we've all assured her she looks gorgeous in purple. And just like an appreciative adoptive institution or child, we are grateful for the work, your commitment, and the love you've shared for this institution. It is noticed and it is felt, and in that aspect, we have a small gift and token of our esteem on behalf of the institution. And then you stepped into that other role. Your contributions as rector the last 2 years have been something that is a great model. You've done it with extraordinary grace, with integrity and vision as our rector, guiding us through Many of the things you've already heard about this morning, they're important decisions, keeping the best interest of the university and the Commonwealth at the forefront. Serving as rector is no small undertaking. It's too late to back out, David. You've done so with distinction, and I just want to say it has been an absolute privilege to work alongside you in that capacity. I speak for the entire board when I say that you've left the institution far better than how you found it, and not many people can say that. So please accept this additional gift with gratitude from the institution and our great thanks. And I will say on a personal note, Suzanne did say to me a couple times last week, she's looking forward to not being my boss anymore. We can just be friends.
It was an honor to serve in this capacity. And I do believe that the university is in a better place than when I arrived 4 years ago. And I would say to Dave and to Nicole, I talked to several former rectors prior to agreeing to be a rector, and they misled me a little bit. It is very time consuming, but it was well worth it because we have a great president in place. We have a great strategic plan. We have a great board. And while Terry and I and Jack and Michael and Jolie won't be here for you come September, this university is going places, and I'm so excited, and I'm glad that I'm still in the community, so I get to see it firsthand, day in and day out. When I go to Walmart and somebody pulls me aside and tells me you need to look into X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna call you, Dave. Thank you very much.
Can I just make a comment? Suzanne, you've been really a great mentor for me. I had someone come up to me and say, how long have you and Suzanne known each other? You must have gone back a long way. And I was like, 4 years, I didn't know her. And the last 2 years, we talk every Tuesday, usually, and she's kept me involved and engaged, and we've, bounced ideas off each other, but you've been a great role model for a rector, and I really do appreciate it. And I don't know that I could have served with a better rector. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And I'll just quickly, I'll share something that clearly there was a lot of conversations with Dave and I over the last few months on, one of the things that stuck out to me as a rector, and I don't think you'll mind that I share this, but Suzanne said to me, I never made the tough decisions by myself. Terry and I made the tough decisions. And I thought that was really, it spoke to your style of being very collaborative and really bouncing things off of trusted, folks. So thank you for sharing that with.
You're welcome. I expect you all to follow and work together, and for the benefit of the university, and with both of you being alum, your heart I already know where your heart is, and the university will benefit from that. Now, let's go into closed sessions. Terry?
I move the board go into closed session to discuss the following matters pursuant to section 2.2311A1 of the Code of Virginia, to discuss personnel matters involving promotions, performance, retirements, hiring, resignations, salary adjustments, and status changes of faculty members, university administrators, and appointees. Pursuant to section 2.2311A3, to discuss the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and the disposition of publicly held real property. Pursuant to section 2.2311A8, to consult with legal counsel for the provision of legal advice by such counsel.
I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are in closed session and we'll begin in 5 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and have a great weekend.
Congratulations.
Okay. During the closed session, the board discussed only matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements and only those types of matters identified in the motion for closed session. I will go around the board and have each of you agree to what that I just said, starting with Steve.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Carrie.
Aye.
Aye. We are back in open session and I will call on Steve for a motion, please.
Yes, Madam Rector, I move the purchase of properties located at 420 Eastover Drive and 1330 Crawford Avenue, both in the city of Harrisonburg, be approved as presented today.
I don't need a second for that. So is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We can purchase property if you'll let Tawana know. And the second item is the approval of the personnel action report. Terry?
Madam Rector, I move that the personnel action report be approved as presented.
Don't need a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm sorry. Is there any discussion? No. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have done that, and so I'm looking for a motion. Wait, nope, Jeff had
Okay.
one item.
I didn't want to bring up, because this was not a closed session, but it's something in the news here, and we talked about yesterday's meetings. I was down with a bunch of military guys, retired and active duty. College betting, I've expressed my concerns before to Matt, David, about the vulnerabilities because of all the NIL. So much is at risk, and what military's had the most recent scandal is a master sergeant taking and knowing his inside knowledge of military operations and going online $400,000. All right. And I just want to reemphasize that we need to be proactive and understand the vulnerabilities, the propensity for a lot of people to just want to bet on things, anything. And when they have inside knowledge, whether it's on a candidate for hiring or just all this stuff, it's not just sports betting, but the betting that's going on and conflicts of interest now. So that's it.
Thank you, Jeff. I will make sure that the new leadership addresses that and looks into it to satisfy the university and keep everybody from getting in trouble. Dave, add that to your list. Now, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Second,
Second.
Second.
adjourned. Thank you.
Here, here.
Thank you.
Get upset, we were done before noon.